Hi, katzcradul here. Let's talk about garlic just a little bit. I went out and harvested my garlic today. I've been trying to get to it for a couple of weeks. It probably would have been a little bit better if I would have got it out of the ground, but just didn't have time. Here's what my harvest looks like. What I did in the fall was I bought one nice head of garlic, the nicest one I could find on the day I went to the grocery store. I came home, I took the cloves apart, leaving the skin on, took them outside, planted them, of course, root side down. The little pointed side goes up about 8 inches apart in the ground. I picked a place that's kind of high because they don't like to be standing in water. They like plenty of moisture during the growing season, but they don't like any toward the last couple of weeks when you're ready to harvest. You don't want to be putting any additional water on them. So I always kind of put them in a place that's a little bit high. And you can see I've got quite a mix here. I've got some really big cloves. Some really big heads. I've got some smaller heads. But if you'll remember, I planted that whole head. And you know, when you take apart a head of garlic, there are really big cloves and there's some smaller cloves. So I just planted them all, knowing that the little cloves would probably give me littler heads. And that's just fine. I'm going to peel those and slice them up, put them on a dehydrator, make my own garlic powder. The bigger heads I'll save for putting in salsa and spaghetti sauce and garlic bread and that kind of thing. Some of them are really nice. This is a really nice one. Now you can see when you take them out of the ground, you really shouldn't be seeing a lot of peeling of the skin like this, but it's been very dry here. We haven't had any rain, and so you'll see a little bit of the skin peeling back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hang these up in my warm garage for a few weeks to let them cure, and that way they're really easy to peel and they'll be real nice to use all through the season. I tried to be very careful as I was digging, but I accidentally put my shovel into this one. You can see the cut there. I knew I'd cut one because when I was bringing them in, I could smell a very intense garlic smell, and I knew I'd probably marred one of them, and I have. So I'll just take that clove and cut that away because I've introduced a lot of bacteria to it. But you can see some of them are really nice size, and I'm very happy with that. And I got all this garlic for the price of one head of garlic. I really like that. I let one of the garlic go ahead and put a garlic scape up, and you can Google that term if you want to see what a garlic scape looks like. It's kind of like a wispy little whip of green. Reminds me more of green onion. It's kind of rounded instead of flat like the regular garlic leaves. And it puts up this thing that's called a bulbil, B-U-B-I-L. And you can actually take this off and hang on to it until spring and separate each of these little bulbils and these little tiny pods and put them back into the ground. In fact, I'm going to attach a link for you below from Boundary Garlic Farm where you can go and look and see what these bulbils look like. They can contain from as many as 10 to 100 little tiny garlics that you can plant in the ground. But you won't get a head of garlic next year. What you do is you plant them, you let them grow for the whole season. When you harvest your garlic like you normally would, you pull them up, you wait until fall, and then you plant them back in again. Then at the end of the second year, you dig them up when you're harvesting your garlic. Then you separate the cloves like you normally would, like I did with the head I bought at the grocery store this year. And then you put those individual cloves back in the ground, and then you have garlic. That's a little labor intensive for me at this point, but you can bet if I wasn't able to get, or didn't think I would be able to get garlic at the grocery store in order to plant my garlic, you can bet I would hang on to this little bulbil and I would separate it and I would put it back in the ground and go through the whole 3-year routine. I've got a couple of sites I want to share with you in case you're new to growing garlic that I think might help. I don't do business with SeedSavers Exchange, but occasionally I find some good information on their website, and they have a page on garlic. You can go look at that if you want. They're talking about the intense rain they've had this year, and they're not going to have nearly enough garlic to fulfill the orders that people have submitted. So that's kind of interesting. They just don't have any garlic that's harvestable to speak of. But then there's a link on that page, and you can click to this resource on growing garlic, which is very, very good. There's also a link on this page where if you click on it, it brings up this one-page document that pretty much gives you all the information you need to get started growing garlic and to be very successful. You could print this page out. It's just a one-page information page, and you can put it in your resource notebook and hang on to it in case you want to do this, you know, a couple of years from now. As you know, I'm a real fan of having information at my fingertips. Even if it's not something I'm currently interested in doing, if I think it's something I might want to do in the future, I like to hang on to that information. I really encourage you to try growing garlic. If you're a garlic lover like I am, we probably eat it almost every day. There's nothing like garlic from your garden. It is fresh and loaded with flavor, and I think you'll find it very, very satisfying. And it's not hard to grow. Garlic is a heavy feeder. I will tell you, I never fertilized mine, not once this year. I didn't put any rabbit manure on it or anything like that. It thrived without it. It also likes water all during the growing season. And while we had a good bit of rain at the beginning of the growing season, it has been really dry for the last month or so, and I haven't watered it at all. And it thrived anyway, so it's very forgiving. I've mentioned several resources to you during this video. All the links are below in the information box. I hope this helps. And until next time, this is Katzcradul.